I'm purposely not listening to Christmas music right now, and I can't stop humming it. It says we're going live.
Okay.
It says we're going live. It says we're here.
Well, I know I'm here.
I don't know anything until my existence is validated by others.
Well, I know I'm here because I'm sitting in the chair and I feel the chair. So
Nope. You could be dreaming. It could be a very good, very realistic dream. Or just not even a realistic dream. It could be like fantastical, but also you could feel like it's real.
wow. Wow. That
Just saying.
yeah.
I'm just saying. Hello.
Hi.
Kayla Lords.
John Brownstone.
Of Loving BDSM, where we help kinksters like you have happy, healthy power exchange relationships. This is our weekly live stream. We'll record our podcast, the audio version of which hits all major podcast apps every Friday. We are here 8 minutes early. If you are here for the stream and you don't like idle chit chat, you got time. Go to the bathroom, make a snack, get a coffee, whatever you need to do, you got a few minutes. If you are here after the stream, but before I put in timestamps and you don't like idle chit chat, fast forward by about 8 minutes. I mean, if you've been here for a hot minute, you know, fast forward by like 10 minutes, but still, just fast forward. It'll be fine. Our feelings are not hurt, okay? It's fine. It's fine. I'm going to say hi to people.
Go say hi to people.
Hi, Kitty. Hi, Claire. Hi, Missy. Hi, Rara. Hi, JB. Hi, Silent. Hi, Brittany. Hi, Candace. Hi, Bad Cat. Hello. We've been chaotic.
Yeah.
All morning.
It has been.
We are trying to stay ahead of things so that we get an actual break at the end of the month. Reminder, we take 2 weeks off at the end of the year every year. And we've been recording all morning because of that. And I thought that maybe the first thing we recorded, which is a Patreon video. Hi, spoiler alert for those of you who are part of our Patreon community. We've recorded that video. I thought we would do that and get the chaos out of our system.
No, it's followed us through and through.
Has it gotten worse? Has it stayed the same? It has not gotten better. That I'm sure.
No.
I don't know if it's gotten worse or just stayed the same. What do you think?
I think it's stabilized, but it's not definitely gotten better.
But see, now I've got people to interact with. I feel like that's only gonna make it worse / better depending on your personal perspective of the chaos that reigns here. Hi, Susan. Brittany, I need a shirt that says that. I'll have to check and make sure that phrase is not trademarked because or copywritten, whatever. Maybe I'll make a shirt that says that. Make it for myself. Hi, HM. Because one of my goals for 2024 is to get so many more shirt designs up and mug designs and maybe even new sticker designs up on the Etsy shop.
There you go.
And maybe to do other things too, because there are some designs I'd like to purchase because I'm not an artist. But artists will let you. Some artists will let you buy their artwork and purchase a commercial license and then like make stuff with it. And I need to do more of that too. But that's a 2024 project. I need to take, so we do this I say this every year. We're going to take a break the last 2 weeks of December for the holidays. And really that break will like leak into the first week of January because January 1st is like a Monday or something. I finally looked at a calendar and I think that's
it's the
fairly
Christmas
accurate.
New Year break.
Right. But this year it'll be more like a 2.5 week break, but whatever. I think we're worth it. I think we deserve it. But normally what I say is during that time, I will somehow both take a break and think about what I want to do in the year coming forward.
Yeah.
This year, I might do that, but all I want to fucking do is take a break. That's actually all I want to do.
we have more than earned the break. It's been a chaotic year.
Yeah, I mean, there's been some
ways.
good chaos.
Oh, it's been some of it's been good. Some of it's just been chaos.
Yep.
And we worked our tail off this year. We have done a lot.
Yes, and I am loving it. It is I get to kind of look at you and go, Neener, I was right. because I've spent a lot of this year soothing your frazzled nerves and
Yeah.
going, actually, no, we're moving in the correct direction as people who have their own business. And I track our gross revenue every month. I'm looking at it very deeply. I am like in the weeds of the numbers when it comes to our business life. It soothes part of my anxiety, quite frankly. It makes me feel good. It's a little dopamine hit all in one. I love it. But yeah, for the better part of the year, you were like, I don't believe it. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. And now we're like towards almost the end of the year, and we're seeing bigger comparisons. Like, it's not just 1 month compared to this year to last year. It's like 11 months of a year compared to 11 months of last year, or
and I'm like,
compared to all of last year. And yeah, you're like, oh, we really did that thing.
That's what's happening? Yeah. Okay.
And we still have a month to go. But I am absolutely a nerd for all the numbers. I fucking love it.
Okay.
I'm also a nerd who really likes ordering the supplies. I don't like spending the money. That stresses me out. But I like ordering the supplies.
Yeah.
I get serious dopamine hits from
doing that.
I think it's a it's a good thing that we have to buy for our businesses and the things that we do, because if we had money in any shape or form other than to like pay the bills and keep the lights on and the bare minimum that we can do on a personal level, I would try to be a constant shopper, because I always feel so good when I'm like, ooh, place order with Amazon, place order with this place, place order with that place. I can do it for the business and it's legitimate. Like I only buy what we need. Yeah. But I get that little rush. Like, oh, look, shopping is delightful. And it's a write-off. Yeah. So according to David, nobody pays for it. It's a write-off.
Oh boy, here we go.
No,
business math.
But I am here for tax write-offs, business tax write-offs. Thank you very much. Hi, Junie. Hi, Yarn and Whiskey.
Hello, everybody.
Where I think the chaos is working in our favor this week. Sometimes the chaos is just chaos. Yeah. I don't know who it amuses, but it does not amuse me. Today I am amused with myself.
Well, I have to admit the chaos of today has not slowed us down.
No, I think that's usually the thing. Sometimes it gets chaotic and we are behind, perpetually behind.
The chaos throws up speed bumps. It has not. The chaos has actually played into everything today.
Yes. Oh, spoiler alert for the Monday video that will come out. It'll be a Q&A episode where they've been that way. We've enjoyed it. We think y'all are enjoying it. You should let us know, but don't tell me if you don't like it. Just I don't need that kind of negativity in my life. Anyway, I just spoiler. I'm not telling you what the question was, but what I will tell you is I read the question and then JB had a thought and he went with it, and I just sat there mostly quietly for like 5 minutes. It was delightful. It was delightful.
You got your say in, though, too.
Oh, I did. I had things to say, but I just let you go because you were like, there are times when I can tell you're trying to think of what you want to say as you're saying it. And I'm not great at it, but I know that's a thing I do better than you. Yeah. You need time to think about what you want to say if it's a thing you don't have immediate thoughts on. But when you have immediate thoughts, you have immediate thoughts. And you did. And I was here for it. Hi, Savvy Hawk.
Hello, Mr. Spock.
Hi, Mr. Spock.
Good to see you here.
Hope you
are
doing
feeling well. Yep.
Okay.
I'm recuperating.
Yep. Okay, it is noon.
Okay.
We're going to officially get
Do we
started.
turn into pumpkins?
Dude, I'm round enough. I'm already there. I'm just not orange, thankfully. And no, that is not a hair color I will be trying. Thanks. Okay. For this week, we are going back to something we did, I don't even remember how long ago, but it's been a hot minute, where we're going to look at some headlines where BDSM/Kink has in some way been featured, mentioned. It's been about that. We're going to talk about that. Disclaimer. Everything we're going to say about these things is our opinion, conjecture, and we don't fucking know, and it's all subjective, and we don't know. Just, I hope that that protects us in some way.
Yep.
Before we get started, though, if you enjoy this and the chaos, mostly the chaos, but also maybe the topic, we love a thumbs up. If you like it enough to want to come back for more, please consider subscribing.
And if you go through all that, ring that notification bell to get updates and new content.
Just do what Daddy says. I have found that life is easier. Just do what Daddy says. If you really like what we do, want to help us keep doing it, want to get more of what we do, you can join us on Patreon. Extra video, extra podcast, extra live stream, and access to a Discord server. And you get that for as little as $2 a month. I'm just saying. And we will, at some point in early 2024, do a membership drive, and if you are already a member, you get the perks, the things we do. So, feel free, join early. It's fine. Yeah. I think that's it. I think you can hit the button. Okay. And we can move forward. Okay. Now,
and away we go.
Really, before we get into the topic, I would like to say thank you to Beducated for sponsoring us once again. Yes. Okay, we've been talking about Beducated for a long time. If you've been here for a hot minute, you've heard of Beducated, but this is a great time to think about Beducated for yourself. If you don't know, Beducated is basically an online learning platform, but it's all sex and relationships and kink. Like it's not, how to draw a cartoon character. It's how to draw a cartoon character on your partner's clit. I mean, maybe that might be in there with your tongue. You know what I mean? Like, there's that. So right now, Beducated is letting you maybe find a good holiday gift for less and give the gift of pleasure, of better communication, maybe a little bit of extra kink you haven't tried before, whatever. When you buy an annual yearly pass and use the code LOVING, you save 40% off. I believe that's like an $80 savings. Like it's not a small amount. It's a decent amount. And the nice thing is you can gift that to like a partner, but you can both, benefit from it. You can gift it to a friend. You're like, oh, we're that kind of friend. And I know that we can talk about this stuff. And if I give this to you, that won't be weird.
It's a win-win.
It is a win-win. So I will always say I want their kink side to go deeper, be more, but they are constantly adding classes, and the classes that they offer, the educators, the kink ones, this is one that I care about, they're legit kink educators. Like they're not like randos off the fucking street. So you're gonna get legit education. If you are not into sex and that's not what you're there for, you can learn about communication. You can learn about parts of kink that aren't necessarily sexual. If you are about the sex, there's all kinds of stuff there. And yeah, so just take a look. Whether you're gonna give yourself the gift of pleasure or somebody make sure you use code LOVING. Use the link in the places. Okay? Use code LOVING, save 40%. Educated. It's the thing. Get educated about sex, pleasure, relationships, kink. Yeah. Thanks, Beducated. Okay. Ooh, and I do want to say, one day you get for free. Like you can look around, and if you're like, no, thank you, then you're fine. But you also get a 14-day money-back guarantee. So if you're really dissatisfied in some way, you got time. So just saying. Code in places. No. Link in places. Code is LOVING. We're chaotic today. Oh, I'm sure Beducated is grateful for that. Whatever that was. Okay, so it's a BDSM in the news episode. I don't remember how we did it the first time, but this is how we're doing it this time because this is how my brain's working today. These are different stories that I shared in our weekly newsletter. There's a whole section at the top usually of BDSM in the news, and if I come across something, sometimes it's actual news like these are, and sometimes it's like, here's an article a mainstream site published, well, go read it. Here's an interview, whatever, but it's kink related. These are headlines that ended up over the course of, I think, November, maybe a little longer, maybe October. No, all November, in our newsletter. You can subscribe to our newsletter for free. If you do, you get a BDSM checklist. we've got people signing up all the time for the newsletter, which is great. And then I send out a newsletter on Fridays, every Friday. I'm consistent like that. And then people unsubscribe, and I'm like, but what did you think we were doing here? I told you I was going to send you a newsletter. It's also okay if you unsubscribe. Like, my feelings aren't hurt. I just always find it funny. You were fine being on the list until I did the thing I said I was going to do. Anyway, so for folks who do get our newsletter every Friday and you pay attention to that section, some of these will be familiar. So I'm going to give a synopsis of it, the headline, and then a quick synopsis. Links to the actual articles are in the places, so if you want to read the full thing and maybe get greater context or greater details that I might not give here, you can do that. And then we're going to just give our opinion or talk about the things that stood out to us or ask random questions that are unanswerable because we don't know any of the people involved, but we're just going to talk about them because sometimes kink ends up in the news, sometimes for great reasons, sometimes not, sometimes for funny reasons. May the odds be forever in our favor. Okay, the first one, I'm going to put a content warning on this just because we are going to mention assault briefly. I don't think we're going to get into details because the story didn't necessarily get into details. But if you're like, nope, I would say give us 10 minutes. If you are looking at the screen on YouTube, I'll wave when you can come back. Okay, so mute us, do whatever you got to do, fast forward if it's like the podcast, whatever. If you want to nope out of this one, I don't blame you. So the headline is 68% of women have had a non-consensual experience while trying BDSM. The article was published, when I saw it, it was the UK Yahoo News site on November 1st. I believe it was originally published over in Cosmopolitan online version. I don't know if they printed it in their magazine. Does Cosmo still do printed magazines? I don't know. So let me give you the rundown based on the article. So the research that showed 68% of women have gone through this was carried out by Kink, a dating app for BDSM and kink enthusiasts. And that showed that 68% of female respondents claimed to have had a non-consensual kinky experience with people they'd met online who claimed to be into BDSM. I wish I could be shocked by that.
Yeah.
Of more than 3,000 women who use online dating apps, I guess that's the amount that were surveyed, more than half said they experienced a violent or degrading act that hadn't been agreed upon with prior consent. And then, according to another site, Bed Bible, ownership of BDSM equipment, such as rope and whips, has increased, with 23% having used some form of it in 2023, compared to only 14%. I think that was to show that there's been an increase in curiosity or play or experience in some form of kink
and that
BDSM.
I'm not surprised by.
No, me neither.
Okay,
no.
Because they're, especially since 50 Shades.
Oh yeah.
Okay,
for sure.
Which really brought BDSM into the limelight, so to speak. There have been other movies and even some streaming shows, that deal with BDSM. So it's not shocking that more people are out
trying
there
it, more people are buying things, more people are experimenting. None of that shocks me. I kind of wish I could take them all by the hand and go, okay, but there's some rules that need to apply here.
Exactly.
And communication and consent are the top.
Yeah. And unfortunately, I'm not surprised by the other percentage. With
68%. The added nuance, because that's not what the headline said, which is why you can't just go by headlines, y'all. You got to read the article. Of the 68% had a non-consensual kinky experience with somebody they met online that claimed to be into BDSM, which means either they just said they were into BDSM, they did it like a net to see who they could attract, or they think they're into BDSM and what they're into is abuse, because non-consensual BDSM is abuse. Sorry, that's what that is. Non-consensual anything is, but you know what I mean? Like what are we doing here? I know people are going to do it and I can't stop them, even though that makes me annoyed. Don't wrap yourself in the trappings of kink and then do all of the wrong things. Like non-consensually doing anything to a partner.
Right.
I wish that we could do that.
And I say that I'm not shocked by that number.
No.
And part of that is because I have actually run across a number of women on social media, talking about things like this.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And, it's when, just in my bubble alone of people that I follow, and I see this recurring theme, that tells you something.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, there's lots of things going on here because it's a nuanced thing. The things that I commonly see are either somebody is hooking up with a kinkster or somebody that they think is a kinkster, and they've said, I want to do this thing, and then they start doing that thing, and then the person throws something else in there that wasn't discussed, negotiated, or maybe was said, I don't want to do that. And they either pressure the person or they just outright fucking do it. And the person who thought they had negotiated a thing they were going to do is thrown completely off because you've just added something in that they didn't consent to.
Right.
Regardless of, how they end up feeling about it, it's more like, well, we didn't talk about this. One of the other things that I see is actually not with kinksters necessarily. It's actually with non-kinksters of thinking that things that many kinky people would go, that's very serious and dangerous, and what are you doing? And just doing it like it's nothing. Breath play being a big one, right? Why are you choking people without having a conversation? And also, why don't you consider yourself kinky? I'm just
and another thought that comes to me on this is, you're on a dating site, all right, and dating sites can be a nightmare.
Oh my God, I'm so glad I don't have to deal with that.
It is a quagmire to navigate. And vetting people in the BDSM lifestyle is a must. That's why you attend munches. That's why you attend workshops. You talk to people. You see, for all the misgivings of FetLife, you can go there. You can see what groups they're involved in. What what communities they are involved in. On a dating site, you have nothing but you don't have any of that other than their word.
Right. And to be clear, on FetLife, somebody can fake their profile and make themselves look great. They can actually think that they're active members of certain groups as well and still be shitty people.
Yeah. But the thing is, with that on Fet, with seeing this, you have the opportunity to say, oh, they're a member of this community. Who are the community leaders? Let me reach out to them and find out.
Here's the thing. I agree with you. We've given that advice, but I want to be realistic about the people who do that. Because let's be real. The people who are willing to do that are either people who just do that for everything. That's just their way of navigating life.
Yeah.
Or people who have been in kink long enough to have gained both the knowledge and the confidence to do that. There are some people who rock up to kink and go, yeah, I already have, I'll do it. It's fine. I want to be super safe. But most people won't.
Right.
I mean, I think that just taking a look at somebody online beyond their dating profile in FetLife, their hidden Instagram that you somehow manage to find. I don't know how you do it. I'm not that good, but you do it and you figure out who they really are. I think that's an important step, doing your research on somebody to the best that you can. And yes, I highly recommend actually vetting somebody. If you can see that they say they're part of this group, reaching out in a DM and going, hey, to the community leader, hey, do you know this person? Can you tell me anything? I do recommend that. I think that's, yes, please do that. But I also want to be realistic. A lot of people aren't going to do that. They might not take somebody at their word. I think too many people will take them at their word, and then they will be. But
it's something that people should be doing. It's important for them to do, because let's face it, you go into the wrong. Get in with the wrong person, that's your life.
I understand, and I agree with you completely. But there's a difference between what we know people ought to do and then dealing with the reality of what people do. And so I think that, yes, everything you have stated is a very good thing to do. Please do it. I would encourage you, even if you're scared, I promise you, if you DM somebody on FetLife who claims to be a community leader and you ask, hey, do you know this person? What can you tell me? The good, responsible ones will do their best to give you as honest an answer as they can, okay? Yes, please do it. But also, the thing we go back to, you and I have gone back to many times over the years, is to not just listen to somebody's fucking words, because anybody can say anything, but to pay attention to their actions.
Yes.
And if anything gives you that, like, is something off here? You don't have to justify it to yourself 10 ways up and down to be able to be air quote allowed to go, yeah, I'm going to nope out of this. Yeah. You know, if something feels off, slow down, stop.
Trust your gut instincts.
Right. And
Trust your gut instincts.
And that is a skill that not everybody has.
True.
But sometimes you gain the skill by just practicing it, and you go, something doesn't feel right, I'm going to slow down. The person who's most likely to be legit is going to respect the slowdown. There's no perfect way to avoid all abusers. God knows I wish there was. But yeah, my thing is pay attention to their actions way more than their words, way more than their profile. Their profile is a good starting point. You know, if this is when you start doing your internet cyber investigation, not quite stalking because we don't want to do anything illegal, but you know, where you track them down and you're like, wait, I found your hidden blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Use that information. But it's still not surprising to me. And it's not surprising to me because it is very easy for somebody to say, we will do this thing, and then decide that they're just going to do what the fuck they want and add an element of something that's non-consensual and somebody didn't want, which then potentially ruins the experience of kink for that poor person who maybe they are super kinky. Maybe this could be the best thing that ever happened to them, but they thought they were doing everything right. They negotiated a kinky sex or a scene or a whatever, and this motherfucker throws in something that they did not consent to, and now they get to walk away going, is this what kink is? For 68% of women, maybe fucking so. And that's part of the heartbreak. There's lots of heartbreaking things on this kind of thing, but that's part of the heartbreak to me.
Sure.
Is because you had the very bad luck to run into that motherfucker, whoever that motherfucker might be. Now, you know, you have a very understandable but jaded view of what kink can be. I don't like it is what I'm saying. So yeah. Okay. Anything else you'd like to add about this one?
No.
I mean, am I the one who planned this and put all these together and understood what I was like ordering them? Yes. Did I really mean to have us go in hot? Not really. But here we are. Now I'm going to wave at the camera for anybody who had muted us, which will be different from my random hand waving I do because I speak with my hands. I'm waving for anybody who's muted us. Okay. The next one does have a content warning as well, but it's a different content warning.
Wow.
Okay. And this next one is heavy too. And then I think I end on a sort of light one, so we'll go with that. Okay, this next one, the content warning is for mentions of violence, not anything like super, let me double check myself. There's a couple of details, but we don't go into the weeds on it. But if you're like, nope, and it's about murder. So if you need to mute this one or fast forward for podcast listeners, and I will put timestamps in as well after the stream so YouTube folks can navigate this better. But yeah, this one has content warning for mentions of violence. The headline: Murder of BDSM Queen ensnared the famous and powerful. Now, this article was originally published in the Toronto Sun on November 14th, and the crime actually occurred in 1997. So we're like in a true crime, unsolved mystery kind of situation, okay? So this is nothing recent, but yes, it absolutely affects real people. And so this is stuff I definitely didn't know. In 97, I was 18. So this would never have crossed my radar. So the air quote BDSM queen was named Nadia Frey. She was a pro-dom known as Mistress Hilda Pierce. She worked in New York. She was originally from France, emigrated to the U.S. at some point, and was doing her thing in New York, in Manhattan.
Okay.
So the details of the crime, on Saturday, July 26, 1997, she was discovered in her 7th floor, the article called it a lair, on the Upper West Side of Manhattan. And they consistently called her a dominatrix. So, okay, the dominatrix had been shot twice in the chest, once in the neck, and for good measure, she had been shot in the head. I know.
Wow.
This is sad. she was discovered by her daughter, who was also a pro-dom. So apparently her apartment was her dungeon. It's where she met customers and clients. Painted black and gold. She had bars and things. She had her toys. She had her gear. Like, apparently when you walked in, you knew you were there for kink, is kind of how the article described it. She even, like, in her possession had pictures of clients, usually in some kink positions. Now, this is 97. Digital cameras kind of, sort of were becoming a thing, but they were not like they became. It was the late 90s. So most of the time if she'd been in business for a while, it was probably like Polaroids or developed pictures. And I would have loved to have been that photography place.
Late 90s.
But she wasn't new. She'd been doing this for a hot minute.
True,
any
true.
pictures would not have just maybe been printed or something.
Correct.
Right. So she did cater to the wealthy. She had politicians. She just had wealthy people in New York on her clientele list. And she had a clientele address book, because I don't know what people do now. I don't know anything about being a pro-dom and would not even try to insert myself in that conversation, but I'm not surprised that all those years ago it was a physical write it down book. Obviously, that's what they used.
The little black book,
right? So apparently, a page from her address book had been ripped out. So it was figured by the investigators or whatever that the killer was probably a client in those missing pages. Now, the article from the Toronto Sun clearly pulled from like old articles or whatever, but one of her clients that anonymously, I guess, went on the record, said that over time she became a lot more lax about security, just letting anyone into her apartment. And the supposition from people who knew her was that it was due to a cocaine relapse that she was suffering with. One of the potential suspects was a sportscaster named Marv Albert. That's not a name I know, but I don't do sport ball. Who it was so well known, I guess, in the late 90s, got interviewed by Barbara Walters.
Wow.
And if you don't know that name, you're younger than I thought. I think most of us know that name. He in the interview, she apparently asked him about this. He denied that he was into kink, but his girlfriend said that she met Nadia, the woman who was murdered, while he was trying to plan a threesome for the three of them to engage in.
Wow.
So, the murder is still unsolved even all these years later. According to the article, Nadia's daughter does not live in New York. She moved several states away. I have no idea. I was not going to even try and track it down. None of my damn business. Is she still pro-dom? I don't know. None of my fucking business. The heartbreak of finding anybody, but certainly your own mother.
Yeah. That's got to be tough.
Yeah.
That
would fuck me up for the rest of my life. So this is an unsolved case. The article I read, I did get the impression that they pulled from previous like reportings, but also that what am I trying to say? That the people writing it were just sensationalizing things. Her apartment was her lair. They heavy use of the term dominatrix, which is a term that's used. I believe it's slightly outdated. The term I see most often is pro-dom. I could also understand why somebody might not use the term pro-dom, because that sort of clearly implies that this is work, and most publications would not want to talk about that. And as Andre pointed out, yes, planning a threesome does not mean you're into kink, but it does mean that he knew her. Right. So, and that was another thing I think he denied, was even knowing her. The story itself was heartbreaking to me, especially the more they kind of talked about how she stopped following her own security measures. One of the quotes in the article, I think, was like, if you called her to say you wanted to see her, she'd just let you up, like, into her apartment. Like, whatever her protocols had been prior to a certain point, she just stopped. And
I mean, that could be possibly, and I'm just guessing on something like this at this point. She may have been, she had a specific clientele and she became comfortable
Yeah.
with that clientele.
Yeah, and it's hard, it's hard to know because I recognize I'm reading a sensationalist story, so they're going to point out, like, in the most just kind of way, all of the dirty little secrets. So you have, I'm reading it kind of going, how much of this is accurate? How much of this is conjecture? How much of it was, her clientele were the rich and powerful, and I'm not a conspiracy theory kind of person, but I believe that people can be shit at their jobs. And, did the police actually care enough to dig that deep? Because I think in the article it even said, like, people in the police force, like high up in the police force, were also lawyers, like all kinds of people were in her, her book. And so it's like, well, I chose to think maybe the drug addiction relapse was accurate. I have to go back to the article. I think there were a couple of people who got quoted, so I went, okay, maybe that's true. But yeah, it was like 90. The headlines, they showed a picture in the story. If you click the link, you'll see it, of what, like, the headline of the front page or whatever of an outlet, and it was like, it was pure sensationalism. And apparently by like 98, story had disappeared. Like, if anything was happening with it, nothing was being publicized. But yeah, I think the thing that struck me, sad story, but also just the way everything was described in the telling of it for the outlet that did the article. It was like, why do I feel slimy and dirty after having read your words about this?
Yeah.
Like, I don't think you should be allowed to talk about kinky things, because I don't think you're doing it quite right. I don't have a lot to say about it other than just to share that is definitely a thing that happened, and it's very sad, and it is unsolved, and there's no way to know for sure what actually happened.
What really happened. I mean, all these years, and it's still a cold case. Yeah.
I find it fascinating in a way that has nothing to do with the case itself, that mother and daughter were in the same career. I know that happens. Like, we've talked about people that and we know where, parent and child are both kinky, and like once the child is a legal adult, the parent like introduces them to the lifestyle and stuff. But, and I don't doubt for even an instant that there are absolutely parents and children as adults who are doing the same career, whether that's sex work or something else, obviously. But like, that was a little detail. Like, I don't know what the purpose of the detail was to share, but I was like, that is so cool. I would like, that's the story, movie, TV show, whatever I want to consume. I want to know about the mother-daughter dynamic of being in New York together and both being pro-doms, and give me that Netflix show, please, and thank you. That's what I want to see. What was that like? Yep. I'd have to go back. I think she was an older woman, like, her daughter was legal adult to do it too. So she was an older woman. Apparently, if I remember the article correctly, like, part of her selling point was she was like European, and like there was, now I want to find it. I'm not going to do that in the middle of the stream, but there's a little line in there about something about not her exoticness, air quote that, because that can be a loaded term when we talk about people from other cultures or other races, and French is not another race. You know what I mean? But it's like, I don't like to use that word, makes me feel yucky. I don't want to call anybody exotic. But there was something that was like, I think as a marketing thing, used the fact that maybe it was just she was European, but like that was a selling point. You were going to get a different kind of dom because she was French. And again, that's the story I want to read. Tell me about her life in that work. It might have a tragic ending. I get that. Yeah. But tell me about her fucking life and what she did for work and how she marketed herself. And let's have some conjecture about her clients. And hey, somebody got the book minus the missing pages. Tell me about the clients, right? Like that's the Netflix show I want to watch.
There you go.
That would be endlessly fascinating. Okay, for anybody who avoided this one, I'm gonna wave at the camera, and there's gonna be timestamps, and this is me going, okay, we're moving on to the next one, which is maddening, but I don't think it's one anybody would want to avoid. It's also okay. So the headline was Rhodes College cancels a BDSM 101 event scheduled by the campus chaplain.
Wait, what?
Okay, I knew the first time I read the headline, I went, who scheduled what now?
Yeah.
Let's get into it. And there's not much for me to get into, and I'll tell you why about that too. So the article I found was published November 17th on a news station website, ABC 15 News WPDE. I can't remember where Rhodes College is out of. Tennessee? Is it North Carolina? Somebody who knows about Rhodes College, you can chime in. The campus chaplain is Beatrix Weil. I don't know how to say her last name. Weil. She's the one that planned the event. The school's notice, like their official statement on why it was canceled, is because scheduling the event didn't go through proper channels. Okay. The BDSM 101 event would have allowed attendees they would learn about some basics of BDSM, consent, safe words, safety practices, blah, blah, blah. It also would have allowed them to anonymously ask questions to the article quotes as a dominatrix, but then defines just dominance. Doesn't talk about professional. So I don't know if the article misused the term dominatrix or defined the term they used. I don't know which, but basically a dominant was going to be there and would answer their anonymous questions for them. And here's the thing, is why I included just this story, and I included it here, because the way I learned about this even happening was, so I get Google alerts for certain terms, and that's how I can find news stories to put into the newsletter. Ta-da! Inside baseball. And I'm seeing these headlines in my my email, and it's all clearly right-wing, super, super, super conservative outlets. And the headlines and the synopses are total pearl clutching. Oh my God, the youth of today are going to be forced to do BDSM or some bullshit like that, right? Yeah. And I went, well, something's happening here, but I'm not going to use them as a source. So I had to go do a search. And I finally found what felt like the least biased of anything. It was a news outlet that's your local news station. And the article wasn't fully neutral, because the only quote they got from a student was somebody who was against the event occurring at all. But apparently the event had been up just long enough that there had been people who were going to attend. So clearly there were people who were in support of the event. But also you understand why they wouldn't want to be quoted, because then they're attached to kink, and that can be a thing, right? That can be a negative thing. When I went back to prep for this episode to get more details, to see if there were more details, the only things I could find in quick Google searches, first couple pages of Google, was all super conservative, pearl clutchy things, and then one opinion piece that was in support of the idea of it. I didn't know that person from a hole in the ground, so I was like, I don't know if they're credible, but it's nice to see a supportive article. And then an article actually on Perez Hilton's website, supportive of the event, and pointing out that the only reason this became a thing was because far-right people got a hold of the story, blew it up out of proportion, made it a huge deal, and apparently it kind of went up the pipeline of small sites that not a lot of people know about to larger. I don't know if it made it all the way to Fox News. I didn't go look at that. And so it just kept being blown out of proportion. Yeah. And, anybody who thinks all of us kinky people are degenerates who should not be allowed to walk around freely, we're just, oh my God, what is happening? Yeah. And salacious detail, that's not something that you would think a chaplain would organize. Right. But also, and this was a detail in one of the super biased articles that apparently was supposed to make us mad at her. Oh, well, this chaplain on their Instagram page clearly supports LGBTQ plus people. And I was like, that's not an indictment. That's very encouraging. Right. Yeah. Thank you so much to this person who hopefully still has their job. I couldn't, the noise about that I could find online when I tried to do a search was so biased that I was like, I don't even know what's real or not. Yeah. To my knowledge, the chaplain has not made any public statements. The college, that was kind of their end of, okay, we're canceling it because it wasn't scheduled properly.
So, the one thing that's been running through my mind all this time is, so you're claiming it wasn't scheduled properly. If it was scheduled properly,
you would have allowed it?
Would you have allowed it?
Right, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think it's marvelous that somebody wanted to put something like this together.
Yes.
Especially at a college level. This kind of goes into the whole thing of, let's face it, in grade school years, kids don't get any kind of sex education.
No.
Okay? And, the BDSM aspect of it falls into the same thing.
Right.
Okay? One, is not age appropriate.
Right. For a college campus, it's perfect. But yeah.
College campus is perfect. And by that point, doing a 101, amazing.
Right, because there's so many general things you can learn, even if you're not kinky, that can benefit all of your physical, sexual, whatever relationships going forward.
Right.
Yeah.
And to be honest, you look online, yes, there's a myriad of resources out there anymore. Our podcast, Kink,
all of them.
Geeks, Freaks, and Kinks. Right. There's so many of them that give good information.
Right.
And yet on the downside, there's plenty that does not give good information, just like anything else.
Does exist.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for them to, put something like this on, to give people a base understanding of what this is and how it operates.
And how it should operate.
Fantastic. Rara brought up in the chat, and I agree completely with the line of thing. I was thinking the same thing. Non-kinky people could benefit from this, because there is a lot of what is done in the BDSM world that could work in vanilla, in non-kink.
And here's the thing, let's be real. If more people as adults, college level and up, got access to just in general decent basic BDSM information and how things are supposed to operate within that, maybe it wouldn't be 68% of women report non-consensual activity after they've negotiated something. Maybe not. I mean, because you can't prevent what somebody else is going to do. They're going to do what they're going to do.
Right.
But maybe if somebody is better informed, then they might be able to go, you're giving me a funny feeling, no thank you. Or,
right.
you're just saying, you think you're saying the right words, but you're not. And they could have a better chance of steering clear of the people who would do something like that, right? Like, and what drives me crazy is the only thing I can find about it is the inflammatory, how dare this person corrupt today's youth bullshit. The college campus is no place for BDSM. Really? Because I promise you college students are getting freaky in dorm rooms. Okay.
and I would almost guarantee you there is a lot worse things going on. Okay. I was in one hand shocked, but then after I thought about it, when we were at college and we were walking to an event and there was some construction going on there, and along the fence where they had it fenced off, there were numerous signs. If any type of inappropriate sexual communication or assault occurs on this site from anybody working here, report it. And there were numerous signs all along this fence. They wouldn't be posting something like that
No.
Unless there was a need to do it, which is freaking sad.
The fact that, but you know what? It just goes to show how bad things are, that I'm more impressed that they posted the signs at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, that tells you something.
This story reminded me, and I don't have any links and I don't have any details, so I'm not going to be accurate in my memory, I'm sure. But this story about the college, potentially having a BDSM 101 seminar or whatever. Like, it was just like an evening. It wasn't even like a 101 level class. Although there are some colleges, I've seen those headlines where people are like putting together classes that I always read them as kind of like a college kids sex ed class, and they've got kink in it. And those are fascinating to me. If you ever get to take a course like that, please tell me all about it. I would like to know. Right. But what this story puts me in mind, the reaction that I saw online puts me in mind of, are headlines I saw not that long ago where, and I can't remember if it was the UK or the US, it might have been both, where people who are trying to ban all the things that they don't personally agree with, were trying to convince people and like seriously saying, apparently with a straight face, that elementary up to like high school age, that people were seriously trying to teach kids about BDSM. I was like, well, no, that's not how any of that works. Right. First of all, anybody at a school age level who would be qualified to teach about BDSM would never admit they knew about BDSM, because that's the quickest way to lose your fucking job and your pension and your benefits. And every school employee we've ever come across who's kinky is like, I have no name, I have no face, you don't know me. Yeah. I have to be the most anonymous person ever. Mm-hmm. So it's laughable that you would think a school employee would be trying to, I think the inflammatory word they used was indoctrinate kids into kink.
They like throwing that word around right now. So yeah.
Fucking kidding me.
Yeah.
And so this just feels like, another part of that. And at this stage, I think the college had to use that bullshit excuse, because I think it would have been, for some people, a harder argument to go, this adult person cannot tell other legal adults about this adult thing. They could absolutely say, not on our campus. I mean, you get to say that kind of stuff.
Right.
But, it's almost like they had to find a bullshit reason to say why it's scheduled, because there's something happening that they don't want to say, we find this inappropriate and we won't allow it. Because I would have disagreed with that, but that would have been the easiest one. We're not allowing that on our campus. I'd say, I think you're missing a fucking opportunity. Please reconsider. Yeah. But that's not what they went with. They went with a technicality because something about it, the college didn't want to say, we don't want this here.
Yeah. I mean, the thing that goes with me with this, it's funny. I doubt very seriously, like you say, that any teacher is going to be promoting BDSM.
No school staff
right
at any level is going to promote that. Because
especially if a teacher or someone in that is in the lifestyle,
that's my point.
They understand. These are kids. They can't consent.
Right. They're gonna ideally understand that. They're also not gonna want their name attached to it. Holy fucking shit.
Exactly. Now, when you're up at a college level,
it's different.
These are adults. These are legal adults at that point.
We're supposed to treat them that way.
Right. So they, at that point, had the ability to say, hey, I'm kind of interested in this, or, no, that's not for me.
Right. Right. And, it would be more surprising to me had the seminar or the lecture or the event been allowed to go forward once there was faux outrage, but outrage about it. Because I just can't imagine, I'm sure it exists, I just can't imagine a college or hardly any institution feeling outside pressure and not caving to that outside pressure because BDSM is seen as taboo and deviant, and we're all monsters who shouldn't be allowed to see the light of day. Like, yeah, we know. We're having more fun than everybody else, so fuck you. But, you know, I just, the story itself was, the fact that it became a story was the interesting part to me, because it only became a story because people got outraged. Truly they got outraged, or just to generate clicks and views and have something to fucking talk about. And then that is, as of right now, if you Google the elements of this story, that's the most of what you're gonna see.
Yeah.
That you're gonna see people, you know, talking about how deviant it all is, and how dare this chaplain be allowed to talk to legal adults about a legal adult thing. But I still give a little side eye. The college could have so easily gone, this is not something we find appropriate for our campus.
Right.
And no, I would have disagreed and wished it would have been different and gone, wait, you totally could. But nobody would have given side eye to that. But they went with the technicality.
Yeah.
Like, it's almost like they didn't care that it was going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
They cared that they were in the right-wing news cycle for it.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I find that very interesting. And if anybody ever comes across like a legit good source that maybe has the chaplain's perspective or any information, like, feel free to share, because I'm
be curious. Yeah.
frustrated and fascinated by this. Okay, the last one, there's not a lot to say about it.
Okay.
But I got a giggle, okay? Okay, this is the headline. 2 men, one wearing BDSM mask, taken down by Michigan State Police, arrested for firing shots, hitting a house. So the article that I found was published on November 28th on the WWJ News Radio 950 webpage. On November 21st, police were called out to a home in northern Michigan due to gunshots being heard. A trooper arrived, heard gunshots, retreated to a safe distance before announcing for whoever it was to drop the weapon and come out with their hands up. 15 minutes later, 2 men came out cursing and yelling, and one was wearing a, quote, BDSM style face mask. They were belligerent with officers. They had to be taken down and arrested. I don't know if they're out on bail or bond, but I know bond was set for both of them. I think there might have been details about what was happening, if they had even figured that part out. Yeah, they were going to court, but none of that was, I want to know what was the mask.
Right? That's, yeah.
What was the mask?
What is it they're considering it a BDSM mask?
Right, what makes it kinky?
Yeah.
I mean, it clearly wasn't a blindfold, or somebody would have been batting around and not know. So was it the leather puppy mask thing that I've seen? Was it a hood? What the fuck was it?
A lot of people use the gas masks too.
Yeah. But see, and you would think, okay, well, they'll go, that's a gas mask, but no, BDSM style face mask.
Yeah.
And then I've got questions.
Or latex.
There you go. And then I have questions. Was this a kink scene gone wrong? Was the guy or somebody in the house that they were at kinky, and they were like, I have to hide my identity, this'll work? I have questions.
Yeah.
I think I did a quick look, and I don't think I found anything that showed anything about what the mask looked like. Yeah. If somebody has heard this story, maybe you're in northern Michigan. This is a local story for you. Yeah. And you have the details. I need to know what the mask was.
Right. I mean, thinking this from what I'm getting from what you in the story, these 2 guys went somewhere and were shooting at a house. Did they have a beef with somebody? Did this guy want to remain anonymous, so he grabbed the first mask he had, and it turned out to be,
whose mask was it?
Yeah,
I want to know. I want to know why that mask.
Yeah.
What that mask. How that mask. I just need to. And in the article I found, there were no pictures. There was nothing to show, here's the mask. I guess because it's evidence or whatever, but it's you gave me this salacious detail, but then gave me more.
Nothing to go.
I know, it's such a dissatisfying.
Left you hanging.
It did. I got edged by a news story, and then we had denial at the end. And I'm like, I personally don't have enough experience with masks to think of all the different variations. But anybody in kink who has played with masks can probably think of, and we'll all be thinking of something different.
Yeah.
And then we can all still be wrong.
Right. I mean, you know, pet play, there's so many different kinds of masks now.
So many.
You know, it used to be, in the early days, it was mostly pony play.
Yeah.
You know, for the pony mask, but now you got the pup play, you got, you know, cat play, and, you know, rabbit and all this.
Like whatever your imagination can come up with, somebody's probably made it. Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, there's all those kinds of masks. Then, you know, there's people with latex masks and, you know, so many different things that could possibly be.
And we've been denied. We've been edged, mind-fucked, and denied. Whoever is reporting on this is clearly a sadist. So it's kinky all the way through, quite frankly. Like, if I recall, maybe the news story I read from gave a few details of what the fuck was going on, like, crime-wise. I did not retain any of that. I just want to know about the mask.
I mean, what? They live in Michigan? They didn't have a ski mask handy?
Right? Nobody. One would hope nobody would mistake a ski mask for a BDSM-style face mask. And see, then my little contrarian brain goes, "Oh, face mask. Were we doing? Is it the kind you do when you're doing your skincare? And is there a BDSM style that I would like one?"
Right.
Like I know we got left hanging, but it was so delightful. I almost didn't share it because I was like, "Oh, this story is nothing about BDSM." But then I put it in the newsletter, and I believe my little editor's note that I tend to put under each one of these was like, I just want to know what the mask was. What's the mask?
Katie Rose brought up, and it could be goth or steampunk.
It absolutely could be.
Yeah.
It could be. It could have been.
I didn't even think of that. You know, especially with steampunk. You know, with the goggles and
right.
You know,
and that's the other thing. It could have had nothing to do with kink, but a person who saw it didn't know their ass from a hole in the ground, and they were like, "Oh yeah, this is kinky." I know, but we don't get to know. It could have been what's the plague doctor mask? Now, one would hope somebody would go, "That's a plague doctor mask," like the long nosy thing and the
with the beak?
Yeah. But you should know that's a plague doctor. Like, I don't know. I have so many questions. I have so many questions, and I'll probably never get an answer.
Never know the answers,
But if you happen to be in northern Michigan, and this is sort of semi or actual local story, and you ever get the detail, I'm begging that you share. Even if it's dissatisfying, even if it was like the most vanilla fucking thing, and somebody went, "Oh, it's black, so yeah, it's definitely kinky," or whatever. Right. I need the closure. I need to know. Because either it's going to be satisfying, we'll be like, "Oh, now I have questions about what kind of kink and how did somebody come into this?
Right.
And what were they doing with it?" Or it's going to be dissatisfying, and I was going to go, fucking media, they don't fucking know anything about kink.
It could have been a CNC scene gone wrong. You know,
I don't think we're involving loaded guns, though.
Well, yeah, I know, right? You know,
that doesn't seem safe. I don't think they were taking any risk mitigation measures in that one.
Playing robbers or something, you know.
I don't know. But we started heavy.
Yeah.
We're ending on this one. You now have been edged and mind fucked with us.
Yeah.
None of us get to have the satisfaction of knowing.
Mm-hmm.
That was it for this week's episode. We will do a bonus section. We will continue being chaotic in the bonus section.
Of course.
But yeah, that's all I got.
So, are we good after all this insanity and chaos?
I don't think that's for me to say.
Okay.
Keep it kinky, y'all. And we'll see you next week. Daddy.
Yes, baby girl.
Can I talk to the crickets, please?
You really want to talk to the crickets? Do you have anything to say to the crickets? Or once I give you permission to talk to the crickets, you're going to say, "I ain't got nothing"? I
probably do. I can always find something.
Okay. Well, in that case, go ahead and talk to the crickets.
Thank you, Daddy. I am loving what's happening in the live chat here on YouTube, where people are just guessing what kind of mask it could be.
Yeah.
So feel free to play that game if you would like. yeah, I don't know. That was fun. Bonus section stuff. We're going to talk about it more and keep talking about it. And some folks have heard us talk about it like ad nauseum. We will be on a break the last 2 weeks of December. I think one of the last things we'll do will be our YouTube live stream. I believe that's the 15th. If it's not exactly the 15th, it's the Friday closest to the 15th of December. I think we'll have a short video / podcast episode go live the following Monday, and then we'll be quiet for 2 weeks. If you are part of our Patreon community, you can always DM us through different channels, and it'll take me a hot minute, but you'll get an answer eventually. But everything else will kind of shut down for a couple weeks, or we get a much needed break.
Mm-hmm.
So we are going to be, I'm going to try to have the details for next week's episode. We're going to be a vendor at a big party in Gainesville on December 30th.
Mm-hmm.
I'll try and put more stuff out about that with links and stuff. If you're in that area, can get to that area, want to go to that area.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically a spanking party. Am I understanding that correctly?
A kink party.
It's just a kink party. Okay, maybe I might be confusing it with another event we got invited to. Mm-hmm. That's a spank party. That's a different event.
That's a whole different one.
This is just a kink event.
This is just a kink event.
Mm-hmm. They'll have vendors.
They're going to have several vendors there. Actually, 3 that I know of, and we're one of the 3.
Yep. So, like, you can buy a toy and then go use the toy.
Yep. This person, they are people. They are working towards organizing some events like this in Gainesville, which is really, really nice. A lot of things happening in the local community here, and I'm so happy to see.
I know you've gotten your community mojo back. You're like, I would like to go out and be social, and I'm like, go forth, go forth, and have a good time without me.
I am. I kind of lost it for a while. My headspace, my mental state is getting better, doing much better, and I'm once more venturing out into the world and enjoying these events.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. You the week my mom was in town last week, and Tuesday was a munch that for a long time you went to like regularly, and then for several months you didn't really go to at all, or very infrequently. And you're like, I really want to go to this munch. I know your mom's in town. I was like, no, that's actually perfect. You go do your thing, and me and my mom and the kid will go do our thing, and then nobody has to feel guilty.
and that's kind of what I was hoping for when I brought it up, because I didn't know if you were gonna bring the youngest or not, but I kind of figured give you and your mom some y'all time to
Yeah, it worked out perfectly. So you're doing a lot of things, and also our area outside of Gainesville has a thriving kink community. But Gainesville, which this should not come as a surprise to anybody, because college kids are adventurous and kinky people live everywhere. But Gainesville has like a thriving kink community, from what I gather.
Gainesville has quite a bit kink community going on up there. Very
stuff geared towards college kids.
A very diverse kink community in Gainesville. Which is really nice to see. Yes, they have, for younger, my understanding, they have a very big, what they call the TNG, the next generation.
That would make sense.
Which are, from 18 to 30. And, and that obviously is in a college town,
that makes total sense.
That makes total sense there.
If the kid figures out, I don't know if he is, and I haven't asked, and that's not a conversation we have, but if the kid figures out he's kinky and we cross paths at a kink event,
oh gosh,
that's gonna probably fuck with me a little bit. I'm just saying.
And what's nice to see, especially up there in Gainesville, which is kind of nice because it does cross over here with us in Ocala. They have now a number of different munches that are going on. And they are also doing a lot of family-friendly events.
Yeah, I see them come through notifications from FetLife of like, we're gonna do a game night, we're gonna do a picnic, we're gonna do and I'm like, oh, y'all go have a good time being social.
You know, with it being the holidays, I saw today that they just posted they're going to do a cookie themed social. You know, and that's for everybody in the family. There's another group that is dedicated a little bit more to health, and they have been doing monthly hikes in a lot of the forests and parks.
I'm gonna stay
around here
in my house in my soft clothes by my damn self.
So
but y'all have a good time.
And the other thing that I'm really happy to see is Zenonis, who we know in the community. He has put together and been approved for a Gainesville Mass chapter.
Which is, what does MASS stand for?
Master and Slaves Together.
Yes, I always forget.
So, the first meeting of that will be coming up this month.
Oh, wow. I'm certain you're going.
Yeah.
Yeah, I figured.
Yeah.
You have a good time.
I will.
I think if I can decompress a little bit over the break and I can get my bearings with my business identity is slightly shifting. I'm not a freelancer right now / anymore. But also I don't that means goals that we've had are a lot more important than they were because I don't have freelancing to fall back on. I need to shift and figure out myself and get some energy, re-energize, just rest and I think that I will never want to go do as much as you want to go do. I'm just not wired that way.
Yeah.
But I think if I can find my balance and my center again of who I am and what I do, I feel like I can give more energy because that thing being social requires a lot more energy for me. It's draining. It's immediately draining for a lot of different reasons. But I want to be there with you.
Yeah.
And I also want to go to places where we can order a nice little appetizer and I can get a Diet Coke.
Now,
and look at me. I like that stuff.
I will say this, and I know the date may seem a little funny, but the end of this month there is the Ocala Munch coming up, and it is at a location very close to us.
I know, and it's why I want to feel a little less drained because it's a place I like to eat, and two is right down the road. It's easy to get there. We could go together. I know you're going no matter what, but I don't want to never do anything social with you. I just don't have it.
Yeah. Yeah.
We are, somebody reached out to us, speaking of events, and it was the one I was talking about, there's a spanking theme to it, and asked us if we might be willing to be a vendor at an event in Georgia where the whole thing is about spanking. And I'm like, I'm fucking here for that.
Spanking Con.
Right. That's not what it's called, but that's what it is. Yeah. And I've still got to figure out the logistics of... Because being a vendor would be probably affordable. We could afford it.
Yeah.
It's a long drive, but it's a drive's distance. But I don't know if it's you have to be there for the whole 4 days or if it's just a specific time frame. And the other logistic part is can somebody watch the teenager? Because if the dates fall the way or the time frame falls the way I think it does, one, I'm not going to leave him home by himself for 2 or 3 days overnight.
No.
That's not an option. But one of those days he needs to go to class because he's still in band even though he's homeschooling now. And my mother is the best one suited that could watch him for that. And but she's planning, that's in March, and she's planning on going to visit extended family in the UK in March, and so I'm waiting on her to finalize her travel plans because she told me, I was telling her about this, and she was like, well, if we don't go to the UK during those dates, I'll come watch the kid for you so you can go. And I'm like, and I don't give her details. She understands that we are an adult business and we do adult things, but we don't do details. That's her boundary and I'm fine with it. Please have that boundary. But I'm like, you would you would come travel here for like 3 or 4 days to like not really do anything with a teenager other than give him a ride and make sure he eats and probably spoil the fuck out of him so I could go sell paddles. Like, I didn't say it like that, but I was like, and then I'm like, because my mommy wants me to succeed, and I love that about her. So that's way unofficial. We have no idea if we can do it yet.
We haven't. You brought it up to me a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, because somebody slid into our Kinkery DMs, and I went, ooh, email me about this. And then I finally looked at the link and like clicked the right thing and got most of the information myself. I just need to reach out to the organizers and go, hey, we might want to do this, but help me understand the schedule.
Need some more information. So yeah, you reach out. I believe it's called GASP.
Georgia Association something spanking.
Georgia Association of Spanking something.
I think it's GAS, GAAS. I don't know, or it's GASS. I don't know. Somebody will know. So it's fine. So yeah, way unofficial. And the timing works out perfect because for my mom to come watch the kid, it has to be at times when her life in South Mississippi is like free. Like her and the evil stepdad grow, cut, and sell hay now. I'm happy for them if they're happy doing it and it's working. Like, I don't give a fuck, but I think of my mother and who she was in my life for the first like 25 years of it before she married into this family. I'm like, nope, never had that on my bingo card. Okay. But it means that there are parts of the year that their whole life is consumed with, are we growing it? Are we harvesting it? Like, we can't go nowhere, right? And so March is like the month where they can both go do something. Later in the year, November, December, hunting season, she'll travel all over the fucking place because evil stepdad's out hunting and she does not. But like, this was like one of the few times. So will we be able to repeat something like this later in the year that's within driving distance for us? And probably not, but we might this time. My backup, even though I have not talked to him yet, if my mom can't watch the youngest during that time frame, I think the oldest is on spring break, and that will only work if he does not decide to go, have a big spring break somewhere, and I could be like, hey, if I give you money and like the keys to the car, could you come home for a couple days, watch your brother, watch the dog and cats? But that would be dependent on him deciding not to do anything for spring break, and he might not because he's a broke bitch, but he might. So I don't know. But thank you, Taste. You got a GASP, the Atlanta Area Spanking Society.
Okay. So the event that we'll be vending at the end of this month.
Thank you.
Is the Naughty New Year's Eve.
Naughty New Year's Eve. That's right, because New Year's Eve is actually on a Sunday, so for kink parties, that would be the Saturday before. So it's the 30th. Yeah. So, but we're trying. I mean, as the youngest gets older, and there will come a point where either he does not live here anymore or he's old enough and independent enough that we can go forth and like leave him here. He's not there yet. He's still in middle school technically. So we're but day trips that we can drive to and have childcare for a day or two is what we're limited to.
I mean, definitely day things. We've got him. Showed him how to feed the fur babies. Yep. And kind of had to hover a little bit on that because Lola is very protective of her food cupboard.
Not just anybody is allowed to go in there and root around in her
dinner. When the oldest started feeding her, she was very confused and very protective of her food cupboard.
You're going to get this wrong and you're fucking with my food and I have to protect it. But she's not reactive, like she's not dangerous, but you have to remind her who the fuck's boss.
Right.
And she does well now, with him. That's how we were able to go to Orlando, even though it's like we got home at 11.
Yeah.
The girls would never have survived that long to wait that long for their dinner. Oh, nobody could have survived that. Oh my God. So yeah. We're trying to do stuff.
Right.
We're just, we tried to do that April event this year and with everything could not pull it together. There's too much going on. And that's the nature of it. Now this event, if we decide to do it, we're committing because the cost is higher. It's an investment. And likely when we'd have to book a hotel, and most likely I tend to get the best prices if we buy the non-refundable. And we're on a budget.
Yeah.
So it's an investment. We'd have to commit to it, but we really are trying.
Yeah. And
eventually we'll travel.
As the youngest gets older, my hope we can do something like FPE at some point.
God, yeah, for it to be in our own state, and we never gotten to go.
In our when we lived in the Bay Area in our own town.
I literally lived there.
We literally lived there. It was in our town, and we couldn't get there.
I know.
At that point, the kids were too young.
Right. Yeah. And the child care was not there for it.
Yeah.
We just didn't have an option. So.
Yeah. So and Master Frostbite asked something earlier. No, our intention is not to be restocking the shop while we are on break.
No, it's not our intention to do a restock, but I could still see, because we have to get ready for the December 30th event, which means we actually need to be restocking this week and next week.
Right.
And we have a sale that starts on the 8th. Podcast listeners would have already heard about it because of time travel. Live stream watchers, YouTube watchers watching on a Thursday, it doesn't matter for y'all because it hadn't started yet, but we also have a sale coming up. So we do love to do this to ourselves, I think.
So, but we have a plan for restocking and keeping things stocked. And so far we've been doing pretty good.
Yeah, we've got some things we got to work on, but that's because we had a great Black Friday.
Yeah.
And
but
we sold some shit.
Between you and I, we're doing better than we have in the past.
Yes. Yeah.
So
yeah. Mm-hmm. There's a lot going on as always.
There is.
Yeah. Next week, give you a little sneak peek. If you've made it this fucking far, I think you deserve it. Our last episode before we go on break, we're doing a Reddit response one. I'm going to go see what I can find. If anybody comes across anything that you're like, oh yeah, that'll make somebody rant, feel free to send it to me. Because I was like, let's go out on a fun one.
Yeah.
And it'll be, knowing us, it'll end up being longer because we tend to do that when we know we're not going to be around.
Right.
Yeah. So I don't think I have anything else. Do you have anything else?
I think that's about it.
Okay. Can I come up with something else? Give me a second. But we're not going to do that.
Yeah.
We didn't have time because we chaosed ourselves too close to the sun. We didn't get time to eat lunch before we streamed, and I'm hungry now.
Yeah.
So we're gonna go.
No, your order was not too much trouble. It just kind of fell in a weird.
For podcast listeners, Andre asked in live chat about his custom order. We're not currently doing custom orders during the holidays. For anybody who's like, "Oh, you do custom orders?" Yes, talk to us in January.
Right? Yeah. After the first of the year, I'm happy to talk. Right now we are just we've got a lot going on.
I have to do a massive candle restock.
Yep.
I'm looking at 240 candle containers right now that I have to put some candle
The other
in.
day I looked at the stack of inlays you handed me, and I was just like, my jaw dropped.
So anyway, we'll see how bad we are at leaving because we can find something. We're gonna go.
Yep.
Thanks for being here with us, especially to the bitter end.
Thanks for joining us. Always happy to have you here.
All of that good stuff. I lost words right in the middle of that. Sorry, y'all. We'll be back next week. We'll have a live stream at the end of that. I think that's December 15th. I really think it is. I think I remembered that date. So there's still time. It's not completely over just yet. But yeah, we're going to go.
Yep.
Okay. Love y'all.
Bye.
Bye.